Hey friends, thanks for tuning in, and I hope this is a time of encouragement to you. I want to share with you from the last verse of Psalm 16 and share it uh, to you or with you from a new covenant perspective. As new covenant Christians, we have this incredible privilege that the Old Testament saint didn't get to experience. And that is that God is not far from us. God is not external to us, but God lives within us. As born again children of God, we have his spirit living in us. And so the psalmist says, "You make known to me the path of life. And in your presence there is fullness of joy. And at your right hand are pleasures forevermore. You make known to me the path of life." You see, I think there can be this temptation, maybe even an anxiousness about knowing the will of God and where we should go and how we should serve and in what way should we give and what's next for us. But friends, do you see this? That he who lives in me and he who lives in you is going to make known the path of life. That he will always lead us into his perfect will. I know that there were many times when I was quite anxious that I not make a mistake in relationship to the will of God, the where and the what of the will of God. But I've come to the place where I now recognize that the will of God is not so much a where or a what, but a who. And the who is Jesus, and he lives in me. And wherever he prompts me to go, let's go. And whatever he desires to give through me, let's give. And in whatever ways, and in all ways that he desires to serve others and love people through me. Here I am, Lord, a surrendered vessel. And that's my grand and great privilege and your great privilege as well. So don't worry about making a mistake. Just simply have a heart that is in tune to him. Take time to hear the voice of God. He's in you and he speaks to you and he will lead you in all of the paths of life. He says, in your presence, there is fullness of joy. We must not miss out on the great joy that comes from living in the awareness that we are in his presence. He is not far from us. He's in us. And when we recognize that he lives in us because of his perfect finished work, that he will never leave us nor forsake us. I spent some years in legalistic Christianity, and man, sometimes they were trying to scare us straight and cause us to fear that somehow we could make a mistake or go to the wrong place or be in the wrong situation and God would not be with us. We'd be all on our own. But do you realize, friends, that we're in his presence? And knowing that we live in his presence doesn't somehow make us want to sin. It makes us kind of aware that, wow, wherever I am, he is. Wherever I go, he goes with me. And I don't have to worry or fret or be anxious about making a mistake. I simply need to live in surrender to his indwelling life. Be responsive to his promptings and his moving. And there is the experience of joy. Joy is very different than happiness. Happiness is connected, I guess, to our circumstances. And sometimes your circumstances are good and sometimes they're bad. And the same is true of me. And I'm not always happy about my circumstances, but no matter what I'm facing, no matter what challenges I'm going through, I can have joy. You know why? Because I'm in his presence. And I know he's present in me, and he will never leave me, and he will never forsake me. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore. Well, the fullness of life, the pleasures of life are at the right hand of God. The right hand simply means the place of authority. And it's a good reminder that when we live in surrender to the Lordship and his leading and his presence, you know what we find? Pleasure. It's the companion of joy. To know that we are well pleasing to him. Now you might be thinking, well, am I always pleasing to him? Now, everything we do and every thought we have certainly is not glorifying to him or pleasing to him, but you must make a distinction between you and all of your actions. Your identity doesn't come from what you do or what you think. Your identity comes from who you are, and you are his. And at his right hand, there are pleasures. And he's pleased with you. And he wants to fill you with the pleasures of knowing intimacy with him. So, you make known to me the path of life. And in your presence there is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore. Live today and every day, keenly aware of his presence and knowing that he's going to lead you and guide you and direct you and prompt you in all things. Our part, simple surrender. Active to surrender to his indwelling life and direction. And this is our great joy. We can rejoice forevermore and enjoy the pleasures of his presence, knowing he will never leave us nor forsake us. So walk today in that truth and every day. And I hope you know I love you. If there's anything I can do for you, would you please let me know? If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the page, and you'll get updates every time I send one of these out. God bless.